Hello, athletes and fans of bodybuilding. I'm Lenda Murray, 8 times Ms. Olympia, and you are watching Olympia TV. Today, we are looking at and doing a preview of the women in 3 of our IFBB Pro divisions. Now, we always know the winner. Jennifer Dory didn't always place and win that Olympia. I believe at one point she was not in that top 10, but she's the current Ms. Olympia Bikini champion now. So we want to talk about the ladies that place 5th, 6th, 10th, maybe dark horses, women making their first qualification to the Olympia. And, we know that we have some great and amazing athletes. So I'm really excited about that. So my co-host, Wendy Fortino, IFBB Pro Bikini, and
Figure.
I'm
downside.
Yes. And Camile Periat, IFBB Pro Bikini, and IFBB judge and NPC judge. Guys, are you ready? We have such a list.
Oh yeah.
So, right.
And this was a tough one to prep for. We've been prepping for this for 2 weeks, and we were excited to deliver these amazing women. So let's go.
Yeah, work. So let's start with women's bodybuilding. And so far we have 8 women.
Yes, we do.
Already qualified for the Olympia women's bodybuilding division. The top 3 automatically qualify and move on to this year's Olympia. So we know Andrea Shaw, the reigning champion, Angela Yo, and Elcione Santos Barreto.
Yep.
Yes. Let's look at Elcione.
All right.
Elcione, she moved into women's bodybuilding from the women's physique division. And guys, I'm really, really excited about women's bodybuilding, the Olympia this year, because like we said, looking at the list that's qualified and then the women that are out there that we know, we have at least, I believe, 8 shows that women bodybuilders have an opportunity to qualify for the Olympia. And let's look at her physique.
So Lenda, this is your wheelhouse. So what do you see when you see Elcione?
Well, let me tell you about Elcione. Elcione last year, she was, I think, the most conditioned outside of Michaela Aycock. The 2 of them brought it as far as their conditioning. She was on point. She has nice shoulders, small waist. She has, look at the separation in her quads. You look at her back development. She has nice back development. Look at how lean she is.
Yeah, she's very
lean.
And
her glutes, very, very lean. And she's balanced. If you look at her upper body to her lower body, she has nice calf development from the rear.
Yeah.
She just had a really nice presentation. She's an example because the previous year she did not place in the top 5.
Right. Tell me what you think about this, Lenda. I was thinking, like, in her front shot, I almost feel like she can make her legs look a little bit bigger if she put her feet a little closer together and then really flared her quads a little bit more. I feel like the position of her legs is shortchanging her size. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the same thing.
Yeah. I agree. And that's the nice thing about the athletes. When I see one and they consistently get better, and getting better, we know, especially when she's going up against someone like Andrea Shaw, as far as like size. And then you're looking at Angela Yo. Angela Yo, her conditioning on point. She was in great condition. So yes, there's no doubt. I believe she's Brazilian. Like there's no doubt at this level, they all bring it and make those small changes in regards to stuff like posing.
Who would you like to talk about? Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I would say she got 3rd place at Olympia last year. That's a pretty high spot to place in. Do you know what her feedback was compared to Andrea and Angela?
I believe her feedback was just absolutely like positive because she improved so much. And this is why we're doing this preview. She made such an improvement. I mean, the fact that
What do you want to talk about next, Lenda?
Next, let's go and look at the next competitor, Lavina Rodriguez Barros. She's also from Brazil, and guys, she qualified by winning the Romania Muscle Fest. Now, you guys look at her back development.
She's amazing,
and she's beautiful too.
Yeah.
Look at her. I mean, the depth. I mean, she's balanced. Look at the level of muscle that she carries, like in her back.
Yeah.
And from the rear, small waist. Glutes are tight. She has the flare on her quads. Hamstrings are tight. From the front, I mean, she's just really balanced. And I'm going to say this: the 2 competitors that I just talked about, the fact that they just keep getting better.
Yeah.
She's going to be. I can't wait to see her. I've not seen her not in shape.
From the back.
So is this her first Olympia?
Yes, I believe it's her first Olympia.
Okay, so she's like definitely one to watch going into this year. She looks incredible.
Definitely one to watch, and no question that she will come in shape and be compared. The next one coming up. Well, we had Teresa Ivancic on the show, so we're not going to talk about Teresa. Let's talk about Julia Whitesell.
Okay.
Julia Whitesell, another example. Julia Whitesell, she actually just won the Vancouver Island Pro. Nice. And here is another example of what I'm talking about with this year's Olympia. A lot of the girls, if you look at the placings last year, it's going to look very different, the top 5.
Yeah.
It looks very different. And this young lady, Julia, she has the size, she has the structure.
Yeah.
And she's learning and getting better and better. She competed the same stage with you, Wendy, at the Triple O.
No way. Oh, that's awesome.
Yes. And she got better.
She has superhero proportions. And I know this is gonna sound funny, but like she has like a small head, and my husband always teases me for having the same thing. Like she has like a small head, and she has like long limbs, and it gives this like superhero statue.
Right. And that's what we kind of think of when we think of bodybuilding, right? Superhero and superhero with great structure. Yes, so this is awesome. Let's move on to the next one. Right. And Ashley Jones, she'll be joining us next week and be on Olympia TV Live. Ashley Jones, phenomenal structure. Phenomenal structure. She moved from women's physique. She's our recent New York pro.
Yes.
And as you guys can see, we are talking about the women that you guys have not yet really seen on that Olympia stage up against Andrea Shaw and Angela Yo.
How tall is Ashley?
I believe Ashley is probably like 5'2", maybe.
Okay, she looks like she's short. Wow.
Yes, but an amazing structure. Look at her. Her structure is great. She's balanced. She comes in great condition. She's coming from the women's physique division.
I'm going to say one thing about her back. Here's what I'm going to say about her back. She knows how to pose it. So I'm going to just point this out. A lot of people, when they do their double biceps poses, they're thinking about their biceps. She's got it right. She's thinking about her teres muscles right here. She's got her teres muscles engaged. It shows her lower lats really flaring out. And this is where some of the girls look a little bit narrow. They're all up in here, and they're not dropping the elbows and getting those lower lats popped out. She's really nailing this. Here's
the thing with her. She's a phenomenal poser.
Oh yeah.
Remember on our last episode where Sharonica Hinton said that she hired, I believe, Ashley, and Ashley will be helping women's physique, Sharonica prepare for the Olympia. But amazing structure.
Yep.
And next, let's look at Ava.
All right.
Mielo.
All right. Let's look at Ava.
She just won the Toronto Pro.
Yeah, a lot of these are very recent wins.
These are all recent.
Yeah.
Right, right. And again, I don't believe she's not been on the Olympia stage. Again, these ladies, she brings great conditioning. She does not have the structure that we just saw on Ashley or Andrea Shaw. But what I love about it is when you have an athlete that comes in and then they're in great condition, that just pushes the other athletes. Not to say for them to try to be, but they know they need to be on their game.
Oh yeah.
I think the only thing that she would really need to maybe improve on between now and Olympia is her abdominals. What would you say? Just maybe a little bit more tighter or conditioning there?
I agree.
Yes.
I agree. It's crazy because she's so conditioned in her glutes. So it's this trying to balance it out, right? Like some body parts may get super conditioned and then other body parts might fall behind.
Right.
So sometimes it's hard to get everything on the same page, you know?
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, great lineup.
Great lineup. And then we have Sherry Priami. Sherry Priami, she placed 4th in the Olympia last year. So she has not yet qualified, but Sherry, I'm sure she's planning on competing. And we have the Tampa Pro coming up. We have my show, the Atlanta Pro, coming up mid-July. She came from the women's physique division, and Sherry, she's known for her conditioning. Mm-hmm. So understand, she moved from women's physique into women's bodybuilding. And so she's, I would say, learning and educating her body to put on the muscle and bring that conditioning that we're used to seeing on her. So she's done a great job of moving into the women's bodybuilding division. And obviously she placed 4th.
That's always to watch. Those progressions.
And this year, we will not see on the stage, I don't believe Natalia Kovaleva will compete this year. I don't believe, possibly. I know she's competing in the Rising Phoenix. So if she beats Andrea Shaw, but I don't see that happening. Just to be honest, Natalia is very young. Her body, she hasn't dieted down enough times. And here I'm showing her 5th place Olympia win, and she won the New York Pro last year to qualify for the Olympia. She was in better condition at the New York Pro than what we're seeing here from the rear. But she pulled it off and got in shape. She carries incredible muscle, really nice structure. She's a tall competitor, but yes.
Yeah.
And then let's go on to Mayla Ash.
Oh yeah, I love her.
Mayla Ash. Now, Mayla Ash, another competitor. Several of our ladies moved on from the women's physique division into bodybuilding. And Mayla, the challenge, and as you can see, she placed in the top 3. Her first time at the transitioning into women's bodybuilding, she placed in the top 3. But what Mayla's going to have to do is really learn how to maintain her muscle while just losing body fat. I'm not really sure what she's doing in the off season, but this is what I'm saying, guys. Last year she placed, I believe, 7th at the Olympia. She has a beautiful structure. She does great posing routines. But I'm telling you guys, this year's Olympia women's bodybuilding will look very different than what we saw last year, as you can see. And the competitors we just looked at, you know.
Yeah. I think that she has more in her lats here. I think if she, like with Ashley Jones, if she just like pulled her teres muscles in that a little bit more, I think she'd get more real estate out of that.
Yeah.
But compared to Andrea and some of the other women that you showed, they have just fuller muscle belly. So what you were talking about is when you're cutting, preserving that lean mass is really can be really hard for a lot of women, especially ones who are more, I guess, ectomorph or fast metabolisms. It's hard to keep that muscle on while you're dieting down.
Yep. Right. And that's the name of the game with bodybuilding, with women bodybuilders. I mean, the name of the game is muscle. And so you have to maintain your weight in the off season. You can't try to play catch up, because if you try to play catch up, the body's very smart. You're not going to just lose body fat because you're doing running 5 miles or dieting and only starving your body. You're going to lose some muscle and you're going to lose fat. And that's not the game that we play in women's bodybuilding. So a smart competitor. And the one thing that I see in Andrea Shaw this year is that Andrea, she's gotten past being the Miss Olympia, the kid on the block. She has maintained her weight in the off season. She's in better shape this year. And honestly, I don't see anybody beating her yet. I really don't. But I'm going to say, you guys, you saw what I
honestly, I think Lavina's could actually be knocking on Andrea's door.
She will. And we're going to see a big change in that top 5, Angela Yo, she always brings it. She's always in great shape. Michaela always brings it. So that we know they're going to be in shape. We know they're going to be better. But we're seeing women with more size, with beautiful structure. They know how to diet. They maintain their weight in the off season. So we're going to see something different this year, I think, at the Miss Olympia.
Exciting.
I know.
Yep. So let's move on, guys.
I know. It's like rapid fire.
Okay, there we go.
There's a little bit of the bodybuilding from the 2023 Olympia.
Yes, and Chelsea Dion, she will not be competing. I believe that's Chelsea Dion all the way to the far right. There's Mayla Ash. Michaela's to my left, and then not to mention or forget Rashana Boswell, our Ms. Olympia Masters champion. But today we're not focusing on Rashana or Andrea or Angela Yo or Michaela Aycock. We're looking at the women that can be dark horses that can come in, and the women that have qualified, one New York Pro. And so we are going to see an exciting Ms. Olympia this year.
And those watching, let us know what you think your dark horse is going to be. Who do you think is going to be in that top 5 this year that we didn't see last year?
Exactly.
Figure.
We're on to figure now, huh? Okay.
Yes, figure.
All right. This is a little bit. This division is a little awkward for me because I'm qualified. So, and I don't really want to talk about myself. But
we will.
We will.
Let's actually start with a recent win I actually want to start with right out of the gate is Maria Diaz, because Maria Diaz is somebody who really impressed me this year. She came in, she won the New York Pro, okay? And I think that, to me, like, one thing that's always held her back a little bit is her posing. She's always like kind of had her arms out a little bit too much or whatever. She came into the New York Pro and she was so on point. She posed so well, and I've never seen her look so good. So I know she's been like knocking on the top 5 at the Olympia. And after seeing her at the New York, I have to say I think that she's nailed it. And I am really thinking she's the quality of her muscle, the size, everything is just really, really good. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I'm comparing like top 2. She was top 5 last year.
She's been like top 6 before, but I think she was like just into the top 10 last year.
Yeah.
Well, she definitely has a beautiful structure, nice development.
And then another one who she was Jennifer Zehner. Okay, I want to talk about her because she was 7th place at the Olympia last year. Okay. Then she has, she qualified actually for the 2024 Olympia before the 2023 Olympia. I think that, definitely helped her. The thing about Jennifer is she's got such a beautiful presentation. She dropped down a little bit after she got 7th at the Olympia. I think she took like 4th place at the next show. And I think, some of the girls who she beat at the Olympia placed ahead of her. So she's already qualified. I haven't seen her on stage since that placing. So I'm not sure if she's going to try to, pad her resume a little bit going into the 2024 Olympia. But what are your ladies' thoughts?
So you said she qualified. She did qualify. I mean, she's qualified now, but she competed. How did she qualify? She placed in the top.
She won the Fit Parade Pro right before the Olympia
last year.
Cutoff. Or no, it was after the cutoff. It was after the cutoff. So then that qualified her for the 2024, right before she competed in the 2023. Then she got 7th in the 2023 Olympia. After that, she went on and she competed. I forgot what show it was, but she placed 4th behind some of the girls that she beat at the Olympia. So I think she is, who knows? I think, she may need to pad her resume a little bit before she heads into the 2024 Olympia. But for me, I mean, I guess it's weird for me to critique the figure division because I know this is my division, but I'm going to be totally objective and on the outside skirts right here. I'm just going to say, and this is me helping people to beat me here. Her shape is beautiful. I do think she could use a little bit more lower lats to fan this out a little bit. I love her physique though.
Maybe a little bit more depth in her back too. But
more depth.
The women who qualified early on in last year, they're at an advantage because they have a whole year to grow if they took that time seriously, because that's honestly what I saw with her. I'm comparing her mentally to like Sid, and she would need to have like just more pop, more fullness in her quads and her shoulders, and just have a little bit more of that fullness in the muscles. And I think if she had a good off season, she could definitely maybe increase her placing this year.
Yeah. Another one I want to talk about is somebody who's won 2 pro shows, Megan Sylvester. She, this is going to be her first Olympia. And actually, she's had a very fast road to building this muscle. And she started a YouTube channel and she's shared a lot of her journey. And she came out on the scene this year and just kind of made everyone go, where did this girl come from? I mean, she carries a lot of muscle. She's got like really round, full muscle bellies. You guys chime in because I think
though from the rear, I almost feel like she's getting close to knocking on the door of being in women's physique. I love the size of her quads and the separation, wonderful. But when I look at her upper body, a lot of muscle. A lot of muscle. Her rhomboid in her back, the thickness.
And you're kind of right.
Women's physique.
Yeah, that's a lot of muscle.
It's a lot of muscle.
Beautiful though. Talk about great shape.
Yeah,
she
does small waist.
How tall is she?
She's like 5'4", I think.
Okay.
Yeah. I know it's so hard with figure. There's such a fine line because sometimes the judges, I don't think they know what to do because a girl on stage will have the best physique and they're like, oh, we got to reward this, but then it makes everyone scratch their heads and go, is this somebody that could do physique too? But sometimes what are you going to do? I mean, if it's like just such an incredible figure, you're like, what do we do?
Yeah. Well, I think that's a challenge in every division.
I know, like we're like, you can't, like Sandy said this before, but she goes, it's not about picking the best physique on the stage. She goes, it's about picking the best physique that fits the criteria. And I think that's even got to be right for the judges.
It's true. And it's really hard because sometimes you're just like, your eyes just keep going back to one physique, but you're like, oh, but they're, it is. That's tricky. All right. What else do you got?
So Lena, she just won the Toronto. Okay. Lena, she was just inside the top 15 at the 2023 Olympia. Beautiful physique, beautiful structure. What do you guys think?
I think she has amazing shape. I think she looks really young. And I think she could just use, you know, a little bit. She has the muscle, but she like, if you look at her, like her hamstrings and her glutes, I think she could just be a little, like, she almost looks like she's like possibly getting she could be getting too lean.
Too
you know?
lean. Yeah.
She needs to be a little fuller, and that could
Just
be
a little fuller. Little fuller. She needs to be a little fuller.
I think she could actually get a little more real estate out of her body if she didn't have so much tension in her hands. Like, she's a lot of tension going on in her arms and her hands. I think she could actually get a little bit more out of her shoulders and her lats, because there's more there, I think. But I love her physique. I think she
has amazing shape. If she can just get a little fuller and like fill out those hamstrings and those, you know, I think everything would just pop a lot more. But she's has a probably very bright future ahead of her.
Yeah. And I stood next to her on the Olympia stage, and she's beautiful. Like, just a gorgeous, gorgeous girl, for sure.
Well, so are you.
Well, I don't know about that. I don't know. I want to talk about Madison Dinges, because you know what? Here's the thing about Madison. I don't know how many second places that she's gotten this season, but I think she did like every show, got second place in every single show. And then she finally came in and she won this show. Okay. She was, I was so rooting for her like all season, because she's just like knocking on the door. And she was making posts like, I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to give up. And I was so happy for her when she won this show. I can't remember what exact show it was, but she did so many shows. I can't remember which one it was that she won, but she was, she's definitely somebody that I think a lot of people are rooting for. In terms of her physique, what do you guys think?
I think she has some very amazing features. I think looking at these photos, it looks like she could maybe work on maybe a little bit more detail work, especially in her, like her legs, her hamstrings, her back. But it could also be, you just said that she's been competing a lot, and a lot of athletes, when they compete show after show after show, their body starts to get tired. And we're at the point of the season now where the people who are not qualified, luckily Madison has qualified, but you can find yourself competing a lot as you get closer to Olympia. Wendy, you know this. Yes. So I think she could very well just needing like some rest time, but I feel like Madison could use a little bit more detail work to, you know, to be that for sure, you know, for regional pro shows, that first place, or to place higher in the Olympia. Is this her first one?
For sure. This is her second Olympia. Okay. Yeah. And then let's talk briefly about the top girls. I want to bring up Jessica Padilla. So now we're getting like, you know, we've seen a lot of the physiques that are going to be challenging the top girls. We're going to talk about Jessica Padilla. We haven't seen her on stage yet this year. We're not sure if we will. She probably will. She'll probably pop up out of nowhere, and everyone's going to go, "Whoa, where did she come from?" She wants that title. She is really gunning for that title. What do you guys think?
I mean, Jessica has an incredible physique. And let's also not forget to mention that she was also the winner of the Masters Olympia.
Oh, yes, of course. Yes.
So she is not only runner-up to Sid Gillen, but she's also over 40 years old, and she gets better and better and better. So
it gets better and better. It looks amazing.
When she gets the front shot, it's like game over. Like, I don't know, like, Candace,
little tiny waist.
She reminds me from the front of Candace Lewis. If you guys remember Candace Lewis.
Yes.
Chris Camille just said Jessica's doing the Texas Pro. Thanks, Chris.
Pro. Thanks, Chris. Thank you. All right. So Jessica's getting ready for the Texas Pro. So we'll see her there. And we'll see what kind of physique she's bringing in this season. I'm sure she's going to bring the heat. I'm gonna pull myself up. You guys have to talk about me.
Wendy.
I'm managing the back end, you guys. So this is why I'm, you know, being goofy here. So live TV, you can't.
Yeah, I think.
Well, let's give Wendy the introduction. So Wendy qualified for this year's Olympia by winning the Triple O Dynasty. She is a regular top 2 competitor. and she brings it. Wendy,
Yeah.
you brought probably your best to date at this show. And when
and Wendy, we've had this conversation many times on you say you've never had a problem qualifying for the Olympia. You've qualified for the Olympia 8 times. It's somehow when you get there, you feel like you discombobulate a little. And it's not even, I don't think it's, of course, when you, nerves and all that kind of stuff can also affect the way your physique looks, right? But I don't think it's ever been about the way your physique looks. I think it's just you finding that little bit that we talk about, that we see, like a Sid Gillen and the ladies that place in that top 3, where they disconnect from what's going on around them. They really are able to isolate and do the present, because your presentation, I was there at the Triple O and I saw you on stage and it was flawless, right?
Yeah, that means so much from you.
And I heard from other people that were on the judging panel that was one of the first times they've ever seen you really just like exude the energy that this is my show to take home. And you,
oh my gosh,
you have to you have to demand that. And this is something we have all been talking about over the course of us all being together. And Wendy, I must say that the last year, I feel like your whole demeanor and like what you put out there has completely changed. So I think this year we're going to be seeing a new feisty little Wendy Fortino.
You know what? I consider this my bonus round, you guys, and I'm serious about that. I'm so excited, and I think that's the secret. And I think that what I was thinking going into that show was, you know what? I am so at peace with my journey. If this is my last show, I'm okay. Like, I just feel so at peace. I don't feel burnt out. I don't feel like I'm, you know, I just feel like everything from here on out, like I don't have anything to prove. I feel at peace. I love doing this with you ladies. I love all this stuff that I do with the sport, you know, and all of this other stuff, this, you know, going on the stage and being my best is going to be my bonus round. That's I've just
sounds like just letting go. You just let go. You do all everything you need to do, and you just let go, and you're at peace.
And Wendy, nobody ever dies on stage.
Well, you better knock on wood. The next best thing. Let's I want to talk about one more girl who, before we move on to Bikini, I want to talk about Natalia Soltero, because she is somebody who has been top 2 at the Olympia. She's kind of meandered her way through the like 2nd through 5th placings at the Olympia for the past, I think, like 3 or 4 years. And she's somebody that the judges really, really like her physique. And when she is on point, she's somebody that, you know, may come out of nowhere and she could take it all. You know, she's just got so much going for her. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think she. Oh, sorry.
No, you go, Camille.
I was going to say, when she was 2nd place at the Olympia, I feel like she was like, obviously she was like at her peak, and her physique kind of changed, and it seemed like she kind of got a little bit, she was not placing as high as she was. And I think that a lot, I know when I would watch her, I'd be kind of like rooting for her. And, but it feels like she's kind of honing things in, and she's getting closer to what was awarded when she was 2nd place. She has an amazing shape. And she's very compact. So I think maybe like, compared to Sid or, you know, she would just need to be fuller. And that's probably something that the judges say is, you know, come in fuller. I could be completely wrong. I don't know.
I know I was there when she placed 2nd, and I mean, just impressive. And it was no question that she deserved her spot, you know. I would say from the photos here, when I look at an athlete and I think of, I'm looking at figure. And there's something that I would say from the front, like the way her quads, great. I think from the rear, when I look at the way her quads are flaring out on the sides from the rear, it's a little bit close to being like, I'm not going to say what I expect to see on a bodybuilder, but more so on a bodybuilder than I'm going to say on a women's physique competitor too. Her quads really, so that would be something that
almost like wellness, you think? Like
yes,
like a wellness, she has a very much like a wellness kind of development going on back here.
She does. So that would be something she would have to really try to control, you know. I mean,
and you know, this is my theory with her, and I think I told you this lady this before, but I think that, like, you know, bodybuilding is a, you know, it's a game of Humpty Dumpty, right? Sometimes when the physique isn't balanced, you take things down and then you build it back up. I almost wonder if when the period of time, Camille, that you were talking about, she was like working to like maybe atrophy her lower body while she built up her upper body. And now she's trying to honing it back in as she's maybe working a little bit more on her lower body. This is my theory. I mean, Natalia, if you're listening, correct me if I'm wrong. I've done this before to try to balance out my physique. So I'm wondering if maybe that's what she did. And her lower body probably builds so much easier than her upper body is what I'm thinking. Right. I think that could be what's going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, yeah, because it's a fine line.
It is. Sure. Yeah. So, so what do you guys say? Would you like to dive into bikini? Because this is our biggest division. We have a lot to dedicate.
I'm like looking at the list. I'm like,
yeah, let's do bikini. Because we have like 40 girls that qualify every year.
We had to dedicate a lot of time to bikini, so we're gonna finish with bikini. A lot to go through here, ladies.
So far we have 33 women that are qualified as of this week. This will be changing tomorrow. There are 14 first-time Olympians going to the bikini division this year. So I have highlighted some ones that were, you know, it's hard to show every single one of them, but there's some that I would like to pull up and acknowledge. So
these are all the qualified athletes here.
Wow.
Crazy. 32.
And I think last year there was 52 bikini athletes around there. I think it was high. So yeah, the bikini division is deep. So Wendy, why don't you pull up Luciana de Souza Santos? So
got it.
Luciana is from Brazil.
Okay. Just trying to pull that up. Give me 1 second. Okay. Got it.
This is Luciana's first Olympia. She won the muscle contest Fit Pura, and I'm not too actually sure which country that was in. Obviously her back shot is in transition, but she has a pretty crazy shape. It'll be interesting to see how she does. She could have very well have maybe a little bit too much muscle, but she is a first-time competitor that we have not seen Olympia that will be making her way to the stage.
I feel like if she pulled her hand up a little higher, actually this would look a little bit better. Just bring it up here. I think that could, I don't know, just looking at the posing part of it.
Yeah, she has pretty dominant glutes and shoulders, but we'll see how that is. But she was one that I wanted to pull up. The next one is Alice Marchisio from Italy. Alice, I'm really sorry if I completely just botched your last name.
No judgment here.
Okay. This is Alice's first time coming to Olympia. She won the Romania Pro. I think she could be a little fuller, or maybe even it's her the way she's holding her hand out too. I think if she just relaxed a little bit, she wouldn't, you know, she would maybe look a little bit more streamlined.
Yeah. Just a little more glutes, probably, I think.
Yeah.
But the good thing is now that we have wellness, so, you know, you don't have to have the crazy glutes used to get rewarded in bikini. Now there's a little bit more of a delineation. So, you know, that's definitely a factor now too. So.
Right. Okay. The next up we have Brittany Schulman. Brittany Schulman. I like acknowledging the Ben Wider Natural Pro winners.
Yes. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So this will be Brittany's first Olympia. Now, the cool thing about Brittany was that she won her pro card at last year's Ben Wider's Natural qualifier, and then this year she won it as a pro. Now she's going to Olympia, but I thought she has a really cute physique. She almost kind of has a very similar physique to Jourdain Lee in the front.
Yeah.
The way she holds herself in her front pose.
Tiny waist.
Yeah, and she has, great, like she could maybe have a little bit fuller glutes and conditioning a little bit better. But I like to acknowledge the ones who win the
yes, that's awesome.
Yeah. I'm going fast, you guys. So if you need to say something, just stop.
Oh, no, you're doing
good. You're doing great.
So next up, we have Ariana Brothers. Now, Ariana, she was 7th place at last year's Olympia. This will be her 2nd Olympia. And Ariana has I remember when she came out on stage, you was like, who is this girl? That last year was her first place, 7th place at her first Olympia. But she just has she won the Atlantic Coast Pro, which qualified her for this year's Olympia. But and she's put on actually a little bit more muscle than she did, I think, at last year's Olympia too. She's really full here.
I love her development.
I do too.
Looks awesome.
Just everything plays a role. Her skin's beautiful. The way the shine on her glutes and
she's a beautiful competitor.
Yeah, so she'll be one to watch. She placing 7th place at Olympia is great. Next up, we have Jiaqui from China. This will be her first Olympia.
Okay.
And she won the China DMS Pro.
Wow, she's got some impressive glutes.
I know she does. She has a really, she does. I think she could maybe fill out her hamstrings a little bit more to balance out with her quads and her glutes.
Yes, because you just go straight to her glutes. You know what I mean? Like that's the first thing I didn't, it was like, dominant.
Wow.
Yeah. And you never want to have in bikini, you never want to have one particular thing that stands out that your eyes are just drawn to. It all has to be balanced. But I thought she has a pretty impressive physique, and this will be her first appearance at this year's Olympia.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So next up we have, she's one of our favorites. We've talked about her many times. In fact, I think we would need to have her on our show for an interview is Vania.
Oh, yes. She's one of my favorites.
Yes.
Wow.
Get her
amazing.
on the screen.
Yeah, she's amazing.
So Vania, this will be Vania's 3rd Olympia. She won the Arnold's UK. That qualified her for this year's Olympia. She has also been competing in very top tiered pro shows, and she's been placing very high in all of them. So Vania, Vania, she placed 12th place at last year's Olympia. I think she's going to be increasing that number this year. I think she's going to be placing higher.
I do as well.
She's got a great physique.
Yeah,
I'm a fan.
Okay. Next up we have Alexandra Vathauer. Ladies, I apologize if I'm botching.
Well, we know at the beginning we had a hard time pronouncing a lot of the ladies at the top.
It's hard. Try emceeing. It's really hard. So
Alexandra Vathauer.
Yeah. So this will be so Alexandra to me is like a dark horse. This will be her first Olympia. She turned pro in 2023, and she just has a killer look. I think she could be a little bit fuller in the glutes, but she's just starting off as a pro. She's going to Olympia, and I think she's going to be. I think she could easily be in the top 15.
So you're saying a little bit more glutes on the top. You're just saying overall.
I think fuller glutes. Yeah, because her quads kind of come out a little bit. I think the glutes need to be just a little fuller.
But you know what's crazy about her quads is that from the back you can see them flaring out, but from the front, I almost wonder if maybe she should pose a little differently because they look deficient in this pose, but they look really developed on this pose. So they're there, but maybe she pose them a little bit more.
And for bikini, you don't want the quads to flare out beyond the glutes, and she is doing that. But if you look at her toes, if she just straightened them out, it would totally change all of that. So Alexandra, I hope you are watching this before the Olympia, because that's a very simple thing you can do, is just bring your toes in a little bit more, and then your glutes won't be like they're being overpowered by your sweeps.
That's good feedback. Feedback from a judge here.
Okay, next we have Brittany Gillespie.
Brittany Shulman or Brittany Gillespie?
Gillespie.
Let's see. Okay, I have a Brittany Shulman. Oh, wait, never mind. I'm sorry. This is live TV, everyone.
So Britt, do you have her in there?
I don't.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll mention her. Brittany was, to me, she was a standout. This will be her first Olympia as well. She won the Charlotte Pro, and she has a great look. Okay, next up, we've got Miss Angelica Teixeira.
Yes.
So
Miss Olympia, 3 times, right?
I
think it's 3.
3. Okay. She won a lot. So, wow. So a little people who if there's anyone that doesn't know who Angelica is, that'd be kind of crazy. But Angelica, the last Olympia she competed in was 2021, where she placed, I believe, 4th place. She had 2 babies since then, and then she decided to come back to compete in this year's Arnold's UK, Arnold's International UK. So I have a picture of her at the last Olympia in 2021. And then this is what she looked like just like 3 months ago. And I thought it was just interesting to show the side by side. I couldn't find any pictures of the Arnold's UK online. So I pulled up what she had.
A couple things. Number one is she's had 2 kids since in between those photos.
Yeah.
2 babies. And the second thing is that if any of the viewers who may not know this, but if you won the Olympia, then you can compete in the Olympia
forever.
Forever. Yeah, you could basically like take a 10-year hiatus, come back and compete in the Olympia. So that's kind of what she's doing.
So she will be back on stage this year, and
good for her.
Yeah, it's exciting. But I was like looking at her side by side pictures when I was putting this together, and I'm like,
this is great.
Wow. She got a lot. She already has really full glutes. Before her glutes got bigger, her shoulders look fuller. Her waist somehow even looks smaller.
I agree. Yeah, it looks like tight, and like she's posing really good here too. I like how she's got her. I like how she's got her pose down right here.
Yeah, I'm so curious to know. I almost wanted to text her and ask her what her feedback was at the Arnold's UK. There actually is such a thing for bikini women to have their glutes start to get too domineering.
Division.
Yeah. So, in the past it was just bikini girls, the biggest glutes, but it can actually they can actually be too dominant. And I almost wonder if Angelica just crossed that. If they are, too domineering. I couldn't find a back shot, but she was incredible, and she'll be definitely a fun name to watch at this year's Olympia.
Sure.
Okay. This was a fun one. Francesca Stoico.
Oh, yes. Her name. Yeah.
Francesca, I'm sorry if I said your name wrong. And I know Francesca, her and I competed at Olympias in the past. But this will be, Francesca is from Italy. This will be her 5th Olympia. She took 2 years off. So I was excited to see that she had made this year's Olympia. It's hard when you take a lot of time off, because you're just not in that grind, and you can, but she made it. And she won the Hungary Pro, the Hungary Konkani Pro. But she will be back at the 2024 Olympia. And I thought that was pretty cool.
Oh yeah. She's got a great physique. She's a beautiful girl too.
Yeah, she does. I know. It's, some of the stage pictures and different shows, the lighting is, it varies. So it's hard to sometimes find really good stage shots. But she does, I think in the past, she's usually pretty conditioned. So she would always kind of work on her fullness. She's a very petite girl, but Francesca will be there again this year's Olympics.
Yeah, 5 qualifications. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
impressive.
Right?
It's impressive, yeah.
You're official when you pass that threshold, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's. I think we have. How are we doing on time? Okay. Well,
we're doing good.
Okay.
Yeah, we're doing really good. Yeah.
Let's go into Maria Acosta. Maria Acosta is is another dark horse to watch. This will be. Do you got the picture? There we go. This will be Maria's first Olympia. She won. And she's been grinding on the scene. She's been placing third place, second place. She's been grinding for a while lately. And she won the Clash Series and the Muscle Beat. So she won 2 shows back to back. She is now double qualified for this year's Olympia, and she will be a name to watch because she has been competing a lot this year.
Wow! So she won 2 shows back to back.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
And they were where were they, in the United States or?
Yeah, so it was the Clash Series, Joe's show, and then also the Muscle Beach down in Florida. So 2 great bikini shows. She finally won. She also competed at the Pittsburgh. I believe she competed at I don't know if she competed at the New York, but she's been on the scene for a while, and she finally got her double back to back.
Oh wow!
She carries a lot of muscle, but she carries it very well.
Yes.
She's a little bit more on the muscular side, but I really like it.
She's fine-tuned that quite a bit. This is okay. Let's go into, I'm going to bring up one more qualifier, and then I will mention Tara Greer finally won her second qualification.
Good.
We've had her on the show, so we will go and skip over to
She won my show.
Yes, she won last year.
Yes.
So the next one we have is Maxine Alexandra.
Maxine. Here we go. Got it.
So this is going to be Maxine's first Olympia appearance. And I thought she has just a really great physique. She won the Toronto Pro, I believe just last weekend. Yeah. So she's she has a great look, and you never know with these first time athletes, or even people who didn't even place last year's Olympia, where they will pop up in this year's lineup. A lot can change.
Yeah. A lot. I know. Could be like the new face that the judges are excited about. You never know.
You never know. And then there is a couple mentions I wanted to mention. There's kind of fun, like, there's the hunt is on right now. Yeah. And there's a couple girls that have not yet qualified that were in last year's top 10.
Okay.
We have Ashlyn Little, who won a lot of shows last year.
Ashlyn Little. My God, I think Ashlyn's qualified like 8 or 9 times.
Wait.
Maybe.
She still has to qualify? Well, wait. She still has to qualify.
She's been on that Olympia stage a lot.
She has. And she placed, I believe 8th place last year. But she's consistent. So, and she has a great look, but she has not yet qualified this year. Next up, we have Daraja Hill, who has not qualified because she is pregnant. So we will not be seeing Daraja, but Daraja was riding high on that, in those rankings last year. So we will not be seeing Daraja. And then lastly, our last one who is not yet qualified, who has an incredible physique, is Jordan Lee, who placed 10th place at last year's Olympia, who is another one who is very consistent. So these are the girls
that she's competing my show in Atlanta.
Oh, is she?
Maybe she will. She lives in Atlanta.
Well, Jordan, if you're watching this, there you go. Jordan has I think she has a very just such a
beautiful body.
Yes, she does.
Yeah.
She does. So that's the bikini.
Awesome. I was thinking I wanted to, if I had time, I want to go back into the figure, if that's okay.
Okay.
Pull your picture up?
No, I don't want to pull my picture up, but there's.
Are you going to pull up the list of the qualified?
That's a good idea, actually.
Yes. Because, one of the things that I want to say, they put the list out, I think on Wednesdays now, right? So we know who's competing. And a lot of times you can look at a list and I recognize the names, like all of the competitors that you've mentioned in figure and in bikini, and you can, before you even see them, you just know their history, you know how consistent they are, you know their structure. They may be off a little bit, but a lot of the you know, and that's so important to me. You know, I mean, when I go through this and I look at, I know Jennifer's name, I've seen Christine's name, Adela, of course, Sid, Jessica, Lola Montez placed third, top 3. Teresa, Shanice Abrams, seen her, great structure. You just know those names, and a lot of times people don't get to see them. So that's why I feel like this is like so important to talk about these ladies. Yeah, because sometimes they don't get a chance to get compared.
We could have just mentioned Miss Olympia, and no one knows yet.
Well, there's a couple more. I want to make sure I was really keeping on top of time, because I knew the bikini was going to take a while, but I want to go back in and I want to talk about, so Christine Stearns. I've seen her on stage a few times. She impresses the heck out of me. Okay. She has one of the most impressive shapes I've ever seen. I mean, her back flare is so wide, her waist is so tiny. I would not be surprised if she cracks into the top 5 this year at the Olympia. I mean, she just got such an impressive shape going on. I will say that this is a kind of a PSA for everyone, and this is something I've had to deal with, is when you start building muscle, we have to be really careful about dominant muscle groups, like imbalances. If your right side is dominant, and you're doing unilateral movements like lower body stuff, make sure you try to start with your left side, because as you build muscle, you might start to have a dominant right glute over your left glute, right? So this is something I see a lot with the figure, the physique, and the bodybuilding, because this is where the divisions where the muscle, we're starting to pile on the muscle a little bit more, imbalances start to really become more prominent, right? Especially in the glutes, in the back. Those are the muscle groups where we focus so much on the dominant body part takes over, right? So that's, other than that, she's pretty much perfect.
Okay, yeah. So what happened to Phoebe Hagen, Tina Carlson?
Hi, Tina. She's not qualified this. Phoebe is not qualified this year yet.
I know. I'm so used to always seeing Phoebe.
Yeah, I don't think she's really hit the scene. So, I mean, a lot of girls, they will start to hit it hard, later on. So I don't know. There was so many girls, we had to narrow it down to some, but we'll see.
I know. So how many bikini shows do we have left, you think? Like maybe 20?
There's probably like 3 a week.
Okay.
There's a lot. I mean, last year we had, I mean, the number could very well be doubled this. We have a lot. We have a whiles to go.
Yeah. And a lot of them like to go for that, the big one. I'm going to include my Atlanta Pro in there too. Atlanta Pro, Tampa Pro, Chicago Pro. The big names, they like to wait for that because they go in there and they know they're going to be seen by Sandy Williamson, Tim Gardner, Steve Weinberger, the Olympia judges.
Right.
So for all the viewers watching right now, in 2 weeks, okay, so today we went over the Miss Olympia. We went over the figure Olympia. We went over the bikini Olympia. In 2 weeks, we're going to go over fitness, physique, and wellness. So if you're wondering, we just covered half the divisions today, or the other half of the divisions.
We couldn't do it all. And also, lastly, to all the dads out there watching this, happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day.
Yes, that's it, guys. Well, guys, this has been wonderful and great, and we take all the athletes in consideration. Guys, thank you all out there for joining us. Happy Father's Day, and from Wendy Fortino and my girl, Camile Periat. Bye.
See you later.